There have been plenty of times where I've talked about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can go check out some of my videos where I've talked about how Miss Marvel actually influenced my song Triangulate. I also made my own version for the theme of the Secret Invasion show, and we're not going to go through all, but here's a new example when it comes to my latest released song, Harkening Back To Us, which, if you haven't, you can and should go check out anywhere you listen to your music at. In case you couldn't tell, I'm a huge nerd, and I usually try to catch up with all the Marvel and Star Wars shows as they come out, because otherwise I kinda get spoiled for what happens on social media, which on one hand is on me, because I do watch that sort of nerd and pop culture content on my feeds. But back in September, when the Agatha All Along show came out, I can't say I was super excited to see it, because I didn't really care that much for that character. Sure, she was cool in the WandaVision show, and of course Kathryn Hahn is a great actress, but I just never really cared that much that they were doing a show. Since I've read a lot of comics, I had been following the theories and trying to figure out which character each actor would play. I was intending to watch it like I do with most Marvel shows, but I happened to not be at home at the time. I was actually visiting some family in California. Shout out to the family if they're watching this. So I wasn't exactly making up time to watch the Agatha show because I was traveling and I could probably watch it when I came back. And to be honest, I kind of forgot that the show was going to be coming out around that time. And by honest sheer coincidence, I actually went to check out this Star Wars and nerd-themed bar down at Hollywood Boulevard called the Scum and Villainy Canteen. I've been wanting to go to that place for years because that's where sometimes Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin do their Fat Man Beyond podcast. So I always thought to myself, if I end up going to California, I kind of want to go check out JC's bar. Me and my family were tired after a big day of sightseeing, so we just stopped at the bar and had some drinks. And while we were just relaxing, they were actually showcasing the first episode of Agatha All Along, which had come out just a couple of hours before. So I kind of watched like the first 10 to 15 minutes of that first episode, but then we left to keep on with our travels. And the show seemed kind of cool, but I never really thought much about it until I came back a couple of weeks later and decided to then catch up with the show. And I thought the show was kind of intriguing and somewhat fun, but it definitely wasn't on my list of top shows that Marvel has ever made. And by then, I already had this guitar with me for a couple of weeks, but because of all the traveling and work I had at the time, I just didn't really have that much time to play. But I knew I wanted to do a cool-ass song to feature this song in, and I was kind of fishing out for riffs and ideas. And even though I was getting a lot of ideas just from the fact of having a new instrument and it being somewhat inspiring, I was still on the lookout for that one riff that would really pop itself out and really surprise me. So a couple of weeks went by, and at the end of October, I actually went to Madrid with my friend Rui, the luthier who built this guitar, which, by the way, there is a little video where I talk about this guitar, which you can go check out, and very soon there will be a full demo/review for you to learn about it. And because we were out there for a couple of days, I didn't really catch up on the show because every time we got back home, I was just tired and wanted to rest. And then when we came back from Madrid, I actually had a bunch of work to do, so I couldn't really make up the time to watch a show that I was just kind of interested in. So on a random Saturday morning, around the beginning of November, I woke up early because I couldn't sleep, so I made myself some breakfast and went to check the show out. And as I was doing it, I actually grabbed this guitar and was just trying to figure some riffs out because I knew I wanted to showcase this guitar with a cool song to finalize the third volume of Brad Baker demos. I've mentioned it in other videos, and I think most guitar players can relate. Even though we should actively practice and make some time to just dedicate ourselves to the guitar, sometimes we're just playing and jamming around while watching a movie or a show, and occasionally a cool idea or riff might actually pop out. And while it didn't happen with the other episodes, it actually did during the finale episodes, because the whole show is about witches and witchcraft, and it ended around Halloween time. I was just messing around with these parallel minor chords because I kind of felt like they matched the vibe of the show, and I ended up figuring out this main riff, to which I then stopped the show immediately and recorded it in my phone in case I would forget about it, which turned out to be a little bit unnecessary because after I did so, all the other riffs of the song kind of just started pouring in. I then recorded all those riffs in my phone when I'd reached the dry point where just no more ideas were coming out, and I went back to the show, and turns out the show was actually pretty good. I know that people feel that it's kind of weird to say that a show only becomes good in the last couple of episodes, but in this case it was different. It's like the show was good, but it wasn't anything crazy. But then in the last episodes, they show you some stuff that actually reworks the whole show and gives you a completely different perspective if you watch the show again. Or even if you don't watch the show again, you think back on all the scenes and they just get a completely different meaning. And some of you might actually have figured out that I ended up naming the song Harkening Back To Us because it was influenced by the Agatha Harkness show. And I even typed down Harkening like they write Harkness down. And if you've watched the finale, like the flashback episode, I'm not going to spoil it to you, but I think the title Harkening Back To Us is actually kind of sweet. Oh yeah, and of course the riff sounds like this. Do you play guitar while watching movies and shows? And if so, does it happen to you often that you actually figure out some cool riffs while doing so? Or is it some more of that mechanical practicing part? Are you an MCU fan? And if so, what did you think of the Agatha show? Let me know. While you're at it, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on all the notifications, follow and stay tuned for more because I'm releasing new songs every week and I'm releasing new videos every day, twice a day. If you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you'll like the other ones too, so perhaps even share them with a friend who might also enjoy them. In case it wasn't obvious already, go check out my latest released song, Harkening Back To Us, anywhere you listen to your music at, and I want to once again take the time to thank you guys so much much for all the support in these songs and videos. I can only thank you guys enough, but it really means a lot and it really makes a difference. And yeah, with that being said, I hope to see you in another video, but until then, cheers!